I don't. So I kind of spend my time doing
Do
that.
you want that back?
Yes.
How was your trip?
It was a very good week.
But you sick.
I came home sick though. You can start. Barbara.
All right. I'd like to call the Personnel Committee meeting to order. Under discussion, I wanted to briefly mention the handout that I did give all that are here. Two of the contracts that we passed for FMCC, we at the time didn't have the numbers for the increases, so the numbers were given to me recently by President Swanger, so they are here. They are approximates, not the actuals. So if there are any questions concerning those, I know President Swanger would be happy to answer it, or I could do that as well. But the thing that I brought that up to get into the personnel, the non-bargaining elected official. I spoke with the personnel officer and the county executive. I also had a meeting with Legislator Isabel and the sheriff today. So moving forward with the policy, I'd like to get that under our belt in the next 2 months. So if we could do that, there will be more to follow, but I just wanted to let you know that there's been some discussions. So, is there anything else under discussion? Okay, we have one resolution. Resolution approving the retirement days credited monthly for election and appointed part-time and full-time officials. I'll sponsor. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Legislator White. And any questions?
Yeah, that should just say elected, not election. I'll change it.
Typo. Wish-
Okay.
I know, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Wishes of the committee?
Full board?
Full board. Okay. Anything under other? Motion to dismiss?
Motion. You have a nice little recess here. I'd like to call the meeting of the Education and Government Committee to order. First up, any discussion from committee members or legislators? Hearing none, I have a couple items that I'd like to bring to everybody's attention. First up, as far as the charter goes, the county attorney and I have been working through NISAC's verbal feedback on the charter. There's a hand marked up version that the attorney marked down with her thoughts and NISAC's thoughts. So we've been working through that. And there is a redlined version of the charter that will be coming out very, very shortly. I saw an email come in yesterday, I think, from the county attorney that indicated there were some comments, but that we're very close to getting to a point where it's good with NISAC and, you know, from our legal counsel as well. And those changes will all be reflected in the document that's presented in a way that you can see what's been stricken and what's been added or altered, which is something we discussed last month, of getting internal counsel's opinion on it and going through that thoroughly. Additionally, just kind of a heads up to everybody, it's been a topic of discussion for us internally, and it will be moving forward. This afternoon I finalized it with Supervisor Bishop in the town of Mohawk on Monday, August 3rd at 7 p.m. at the Mohawk Town Hall. I'm going to be holding a town hall meeting regarding the Fonda Connector project as well as the regional business park. Primarily to hear comments, concerns, feelings from Mohawk residents and any other Montgomery County residents or else during that meeting, and providing clarification when I can on certain concerns and questions. So that will be Monday, August 3rd, 7 p.m. at the Town of Mohawk Town Hall. And I will be working with our communication specialist to get a press release out about that with the information and have some posters or some sort of notifications drawn up to have throughout the community over the next couple weeks. Yes?
Has there been any talks about if there's going to be a larger crowd than possibly expected at the location?
Let's hope. No, frankly, I've been discussing it here and there with a couple residents and decided that instead of having these discussions over the phone and by email, they should be, one, in public, and two, for everybody to hear everybody's thoughts, and to present a level playing field for everybody to get out, share their thoughts and feelings on both projects, and where I can, possibly answer questions. I think we all know that, especially when it comes to something like the Fonda Connector, we're just as much in the dark as the town of Mohawk residents are. But to try and fill in where there might be some communication gaps, that's my primary purpose in holding this, because at the county level, the connector has not been discussed since August 2013 before we took office, and the regional park hasn't been discussed in a formal sense since we've taken office as well. So really just to sit down with these residents and listen to their concerns and have a open dialogue. But as far as I reached out to Supervisor Bishop last week, and he verified that the town hall was available that day, and we just confirmed that today. So they've got a room probably about the size of this, and I'm sure there'll be enough room.
I'm just, if I could add, I've gotten calls for a few weeks at least now, and I'm in the city. So comparatively, I love the whole county, and I've been, now I was here during the connector, and I understand your position back there, and Greg Radzikowski was the supervisor back there, so it's been a concern for the citizens of Mohawk for a while. So I look forward to attending. I'm sure if,
hopefully it will be informative and for everybody there, and
excellent.
Okay, I think those are the two items I wanted to cover. If there's no other discussion items, we will move on to resolutions. First is a resolution adopting local law F of 2014, a local law adopting the Montgomery County emblem. All sponsor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by legislator Diamond. This was a local law that the county attorney led, and we worked together a little on this, going back and forth on trying to craft a verbal description of the new county emblem, which is within this within the resolution and within the local law. I think it's it's a good verbal description, and it leaves it so that it's well defined and something that's not too strong but strong enough. Any discussion on this resolution or the local law? Hearing none, wishes of the committee?
Full board.
Next up is a resolution authorizing the county executive to award contract and execute amendment number 1 with Ryan Biggs, Clark Davis for replacement of quad sidewalks, stairs, component of FMCC's priority campus safety project. Sponsor in a second.
I'll sponsor.
Legislator Diamond and Legislator Wheeler. There's just a couple typos in the title line.
Okay.
Let's see, I saw them when I read through them. For replacement, and then at the end priority. Just so everyone's aware, there's 7 contracts up for FM this month, and the background on this is a little foggy, how this was dealt with in the past. But basically what the situation is, and this is a very broad, glossed over explanation of, typically in New York State, community colleges are set up by counties, whether it be Dutchess, Ulster, Schenectady, so on. And they're basically a county department. So they function in the same way any county department or like our sewer district does function. However, with us, we have a joint county community college. And the procedures for financial matters and policy matters, it's kind of been, it seems, treated in a lot of different ways over the years. As you may recall, we last year approved the FMCC's 2015 capital budget, yes. However, there was nothing in there dictating how bids would be awarded. We appropriated the money, but there's nothing in there dictating how the bids are awarded and who executes those contracts. Wherein our own county, if we appropriate the money, our procurement policy takes place and takes over at that point. So there's a little, I think a little question about, the exact way to do this moving forward. This is how we, the county attorney and Fulton County attorney, have decided we're going to move forward for this year, and it's a way to basically cover all bases. So I think in the future we should look at ways to possibly streamline it and figure out exactly how this should be functioning from a legal perspective, given the fact that the college is a joint venture, if you will, between the two counties, and and the repercussions of that. So that was a long-winded, broad overview of what these are. Any discussion on this? This one is for part of their capital project this year to replace the concrete sidewalks and stairs on the quad, which it appears really has not been done since the college was built, and they're a safety hazard and an eyesore. So I think this is going to be a great project. Any discussion? Legislator
Yes.
Wheeler.
Thank you. Do you have a sponsor in a second?
Yes,
Okay.
you were the second.
How were we doing it before? And I was part of the strategic plan for the college, so it has been done in a while. and they do need attention, so I'm glad to see this. But now that we're doing it this way, and I'm glad to see the attention to detail, but I can't even recollect how it was done. Yeah, great.
Frankly, I feel the same way, and trying to find out exactly how things were done. They were kind of, it appears that, it was almost treated, there wasn't a streamlined process, and it's evolved over the years. And actually locating, it's really a similar story to the sewer district. Locating the actual written law and policy that puts these procedures in place has been, well, it hasn't happened. So I think trying to determine what put policies in place, procedures in place, and then either refining it or just enforcing that, of having a rule book to go by. And as far as your question on the strategic plan, I can tell you that the college is starting their strategic plan update as we speak. So that will be moving forward, which I think will be a good thing for the college. Okay? Wishes of the committee? Full board. All right, next resolution is a resolution authorizing county executive to award contract and execute change order number 1 with Joseph P. Magone, Inc. for the master key system component of FMCC's priority campus safety project. All sponsors, there a second? Seconded by legislator Pertel. This project is going to go through and basically rekey all the locks on FM's campus, which is desperately needed because right now there's a key ring that's probably got 2-3 dozen keys to get into all the areas, and it's a safety concern because instructors cannot necessarily lock doors if there was a lockdown situation. So this is to go through and rekey and replace all the locks. Any discussion, questions? Yes.
This just again moves our community college into the next technology generation, so this is a wonderful.
Absolutely. All in favor of moving to full board?
Full board. Full board.
Next resolution is a resolution awarding to Omaha Electrical Inc. for the replacement quad lighting component of the FMCC Priority Campus Safety Project 2015 capital plan. Sponsor in a second. Legislator Wheeler and Legislator Beniak. This, if you're familiar with the campus, the lights on the campus right now are kind of, President Swanger describes them as mood lighting. When they were put in, that was kind of the theme, and they're very dim, and we do not live in a society where dim lighting in public spaces is a good idea anymore. So this will go through and replace those. Any questions, concerns, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of moving to full board?
Full board.
Next resolution is a resolution awarding bid to Topline Ltd. for the wayfinding signage component of the FMCC Priority Campus Safety Project and authorizing the county executive to sign agreement. All sponsors, there a second? Seconded by Legislator Diamond. This component is basically going to be putting up some new interpretive and directional signage through the campus. If you've been up there recently, the entrance road actually has welcome signs in I think 6 different languages, which I think is really a great idea. FM's placed a lot of emphasis on diversity on the campus, and they really have done a great job at that, and I think it's, another thing that is great about our local community college.
Just wanted to add to that, the increased amount of foreign students that have come there have not only added to the diversity, but what they contribute to even the local community is fantastic.
Absolutely. Very good. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor of moving to full board?
Full board.
Next is a resolution awarding bid to Gallo Construction Corporation for the replacement quad sidewalk stairs component of the FMCC Priority Campus Safety Project and authorizing county executive to sign agreement. All sponsors, there second. Legislator Wheeler. This builds off of the first one we discussed. It's actually broken into two different portions because it's a pretty large project. Any questions, concerns, comments? Hearing none, all in favor moving to full board?
Aye. Full board.
Next is a resolution approving a lease agreement between HFM BOCES in Fulton and Montgomery counties to facilitate a solar voltaic system power purchase agreement project to benefit HFM BOCES. All sponsors, there a second, Legislator Pertel. Ms. Mannion, this is the result of the work you've been doing the last couple of months on this project?
Yes, if you guys recall, a couple months ago, we had FMCC and BOCES come here with some some different projects. One of them being entering into a solar lease to put some solar panels in front of the college. Upon looking at the lease and reviewing it, Fulton County Attorney and myself identified some issues. One being that the proposed term of the lease by BOCES for the solar project extended the actual term of their lease of the premises. So in order to let this project move forward, they would need to have an extension of lease for 2 years, 2014 to 2016. So this is, this resolution proposes, and up to your discretion, extending the lease with BOCES, or not even extending, it would be a new lease with BOCES for 2014 to 2016. And the primary purpose of doing that would be so they can enter into this solar installation agreement, which is coming up in the next resolution. So still doing a few minor changes on the contracts. There's some approvals that need to go through that they still need to get prior to it being finalized, but we're moving the ball forward at least.
Sponsored by Legislator Pertel, seconded by Legislator Isabel.
Wait,
Did we?
you already,
Yeah.
you and Pertel.
I'll keep you in mind for the next one. Any other discussion? Okay, very good. All in favor moving to full board?
Aye.
Okay. Next up is a resolution approving installation of solar array project on FMCC campus property, sponsored by Legislator Pertel and Legislator Isabel. Any questions about this resolution? Hearing none, all in favor moving to full board?
Full board.
I have a question. If I could ask, does this replace the one that we had tabled from?
Yeah, this is different than the tabled one.
So that tabled one is still, needs to come back,
We would have to have a motion to remove from table. And
Yeah.
then,
and then it dies?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, next up is a resolution adopting the 2015-2016 FMCC operating budget. All sponsors, is there a second? Seconded by Legislator Wheeler. As you may remember, we next week at
6:55.
6:55 p.m. we'll be holding a public hearing on the proposed 2015-2016 FMCC operating budget. The numbers are reflected in the resolution. Any questions, concerns, comments? Hearing none, all in favor moving to full board?
Full board.
Next up is a resolution rescinding resolution number 74 of 2015. All sponsors, there a second. Legislator Wheeler. This resolution will rescind a resolution passed earlier this year that appointed a individual to fill a vacancy for the District 3 Planning Board seat. It was determined that the District 3 appointment that was made by Resolution 74 of 2015 did not meet qualifications for the Planning Board appointment in that they were not a resident of District 3. So this will rescind that resolution. And if you notice, there is a resolution following this to fill vacancies on the planning board. Comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
I have something,
Okay.
Chair. I guess I would start by saying that in the local law that was passed, there's no qualification that you need to be a resident. The qualification is you need to represent the district. Making it a residency issue not only puts the planning board in reverse, but puts the momentum and the movement of this legislature in reverse. What was happening is that as far as the legislature, as you know, with the charter amendments for appointments to the county, we are now including surrounding counties with civil service tests for the county. We are now including surrounding counties to be able to qualify for these exams. So to put a residency clause where there isn't one, again, is backwards in my opinion. The other part of it is that there's no other planning board in the state that has residency requirements except for being a resident of the county. So if you know the process of the planning board, there's two alternates. If there's a person that is absent, unless the alternate, according to the theory of residency, is a member of that district, they wouldn't be able to vote. So again, I guess we've seen how the planning boards operated in the past. This local law was to move the county forward, and I would further say that I would be voting no as far as moving it to full board.
Any other comments? And then I have a couple myself. Yes.
Okay. I support what you're saying. I think that's your appointment to make, and I don't see anything in the past that went against that. I may be wrong, but I feel the same way.
Just to kind of give a point of view, under public officers law, any officer in New York State public officers law, any person in a decision-making capacity has to be, by law, state law, a resident of the jurisdiction for which they serve. And you're right, that is something that we've discussed with appointed county officials, mainly department heads, because those are highly qualified positions. With the planning board, these planning board members are in a decision-making capacity for the county, and therefore, whether we like it or not, do fall under public officers law, which restricts them to living within the jurisdiction for which they represent. Additionally, I would add that prior to reformation under the legislature, the planning board, it was a member of each of the 10 towns. No, 10 towns. And to this point, all appointments to the planning board under the legislature have been representing the district. Now, I would agree with you, Legislator Diamond. Do I think the best way to appoint these people is by district? Absolutely not, because a geographic representation really doesn't mean much in a county, on the county level. In general municipal law, broadly just prescribes that the members represent a broad cross-section of interest within the county. As far as that goes, I would very much support rewriting the local law creating the planning board to have the qualifications and the makeup of the board based upon background, be it a farmer, a business owner, an architect, an engineer, a planner, whatever it may be, to represent a broad cross-section of the county and a lot of different backgrounds. But legally speaking, from the way our law is written and how it's been interpreted over the last year and a half, the appointments by district make them a public officer, and state law requires that they be a resident of the jurisdiction. I saw Legislator Wheeler and then Legislator Pertel.
Okay. One side sounds like the law, and it's based on facts. The other one just sounds like politics. So the planning board is a important board that people are volunteering their time for a service. So the law backs that up, and I thank you for that eloquent description. So I will support it.
Legislator
So
Patel.
you spoke about the jurisdiction.
Yes.
Just want clarification on that. So when the person is in jurisdiction, is it the county jurisdiction, or is it the district that they're coming from, or the district that the appointment is coming from, where the jurisdiction is?
So by our local law establishing the planning board, there's 9 members that are appointed to represent, by each legislator, to represent that district. So you would make a recommendation and an appointment for somebody to represent District 9, and that is the jurisdiction for which they're representing, and by public officers law have to be a resident of. Same way as I have to be a resident of District 4 to represent District 4 on the legislature, because I'm in a we're all in a decision-making capacity, and the 9 members of the planning board are as well.
Sure.
Yes.
The other thing that slipped my mind that I wanted to mention was that during the discussion of the local law, there was never once an issue of residency. It was an issue of each legislator getting an appointment. And I agree with you that the local law was poorly written as far as clarification. There's other issues in here too, as far as the alternates, as far as who makes the appointments. And you mentioned the previous local law, which was appointed solely by the chairman of the board. So I agree with the part that this local law could be clarified.
Any other comments?
I just have a question. What exactly are we rescinding here?
So the resolution 74 of 2015 appointed a member to fill the vacancy on the planning board from District 3. So
Okay.
we're just rescinding the resolution making the appointment. Now I'd like to point out that while discussion is amongst the entire legislature or anybody present, voting on moving to full board is only among committee members, which would be Legislator Diamond and myself. All in favor of moving to full board? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
The resolution fails. Moving on. The next resolution is a resolution appointing members to the planning board. I will sponsor. Is there a second? Seconded by Legislator Wheeler. So kind of building off of what we were just discussing, at present we have a vacancy for the planning board in District 1 and the 2 alternate members. I'm not going to comment on the position in District 3. That's, I think, a legal interpretation whether that is vacant or not. I would like to propose that for the 2 alternate members, which can fill in whenever there is a vacancy, there's been an individual that's been filling in this position and sits on a town planning board that I would like to recommend to fill one of the alternate positions, and that would be Mark Hoffman at 2306 Hickory Hill Road, Fonda, New York, 12068.
I'll second that.
Okay, and all in favor of the amendment to insert the name of Mark Hoffman as an alternate?
Was there 2 alternates or just
There
one?
are.
Could I put up another name?
Absolutely.
Betty Sanders has showed interest. She's, I unfortunately don't have her address. I know she's in District 2. She wasn't sure if she was in District 3 or in District 1, but if falls, and I do support the first alternate, so I do support that one as well. I think he's done a wonderful job. But she's shown interest to serve as well. I don't have her address, but I would.
Okay, that's all right. We can
I would like
motion and a second by myself. Any discussion on the second amendment for Ms. Sanders? Yes.
I'd like to make an amendment inserting the name of John Likers, who had served previously on the board and was interested in being the alternate. He's from District 3.
Is there a second? By Mr. Isabel?
I don't know if I can hear on that.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Okay. Any discussion? Or what? I apologize.
So now we have three.
You can only have 2 amendments on the floor at any given time. Since the motion has been made for a 3rd amendment, what, as the parliamentarian, what would you advise?
I withdraw the motion.
Okay. Voting on the 2nd amendment then for Ms. Sanders. Any discussion? Hearing none. Wishes of the committee in favor of the amendment, aye. Opposed?
What are you saying? I oppose.
I voted aye.
Yeah, I'm opposed.
Okay, opposed. So the amendment from Ms. Sanders fails. Just now we are back on an
I would
amendment.
make an amendment now with the name of John Likers in it.
Okay.
I can't second it, so I'm not on that committee.
No, you can second it. You just can't vote on it.
Okay, I'll second it.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to insert the name of John Likers. Discussion.
Oh, yes. We're showing 1,000% that this is a political position. I'm really glad you're writing notes. At the full board, we can see what we want to do. We can also address the 3rd district position and whether we can clarify the legal position and it won't be a one-on-one vote then, because it shouldn't be a political position. It should be, now just for the record, I 100% agree with you, Roy, that if we wanted to rewrite the law and have it be a legal position, then we could have architects and different positions. I would support that wholeheartedly. But yeah, I'm not on this committee.
Any other discussion on the amendment to insert the name of John Likers? Hearing none,
No.
we will vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Nay. The amendment fails. We're back on the amendment for Mr. Hoffman. Any discussion? Yes.
I support Mark Kaufman. I think he's done a great job. I thank him for the service that he's done on the town level.
Okay. We will vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, that amendment passes and is inserted into the resolution. On the resolution as amended,
I have another amendment though because the previous
Go ahead.
resolution wasn't overturned, I would insert the name of Sarah Nicole in District 3 until something else happens.
I will second that. Any discussion on inserting the name of from a legal standpoint, we don't want to insert the name. We do not necessarily recognize that it's vacant. Correcting the resolution? Should we make an amendment correcting the resolution to indicate that District 3 is filled by Ms. Sarah Nicolai?
I would say you can move forward with the amendment on it, amendment changing it, and subject to discussion at full board.
So the amendment on the floor is to,
Change the typo.
okay, change the
Change
typo.
the wording.
All in favor?
Is there a second?
Aye. Yes, I second it.
Wait, to go into the District 3 position? Or-
Yeah, so it's correcting the typo that says
Says
District 3
vacant.
is vacant.
Okay.
Any discussion? Yes.
I want to thank you for clarifying your intent. Thank you.
Not sure what that means.
I think you do.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the amendment? Aye. The amendment to insert or correct the typo is passed. On the resolution as amended, any discussion? If the District 1 legislators shall find an appointment by the next board meeting, we can make amendments to the resolution at that point. Same goes for the alternate. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of moving the resolution to full board?
Full board.
Aye. Okay, and that is it. Anything under other?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second, and we are adjourned.
Congratulations, Mark.
I think. I'd like to call the committee meeting of Budget and Finance to order. Is there any discussion from the floor, from the legislators? Hearing none, I'll move on. I have a resolution to amend the 2015 operating budget, New York State Environmental Protection Fund, Local Waterfront Revitalization Program, Soil and Water Conservation District. Have a sponsor in a second.
I'll sponsor.
Legislator White and Legislator Wheeler for second. Any discussion?
I don't know if we can possibly either get a memo or I would definitely welcome some sort of a presentation on the status of the watershed management plan
Sure.
at the full board. You know, I've had a chance to look at the draft report, and it's, you know, I think it's a really great project to move forward, and I just, out of interest.
I'm
like
sure
to see
Corey
what
would be happy to do it.
Status.
Yeah.
Do you want me
Okay.
to pen yet?
Yes.
the clerk
For
can contact.
Tuesday?
Yes, please.
There's just a typo in the first whereas, it's 370,270, and it's 37,000.
No, that is the, in 2010, that was the amount.
I thought so.
This is actually the last payment.
But you see where my okay, thank
No,
you
that's
for
not a
clarifying.
typo.
All right.
Okay, is everybody, we'll move it to full board?
Yep.
Alrighty. Resolution approving the abstracts of audited claims, Office of the Legislators. Can I have a sponsor in a second?
A sponsor.
Roy, second.
Second.
Ryan, Legislator Whites is the second. Move it to full board?
Full board.
Very good. Anything else? Hearing, yes,
Nope, there's just a
Legislator
motion
Wheeler.
to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, and I'll second it.
All right.